interesting. And this falls for a lot of teams that are in the same situation.
Oh, and this is what leads me over to Costa Rica, right? And Costa Rica have now come back to life. And Costa Rica aren't scoring a ton of goals. They've got, what is it, 9 goals that they've scored so far?
9 out of 12 games.
9 out of 12 games. And then El Salvador, out of 12 games, has only 7 goals for. But El Salvador aren't bad at home. They were able to get that 2-0 win on the road against Honduras. They got the 1-1 against Jamaica. Like, there are signs of life with El Salvador in terms of just that national pride. They're playing at the Cuscatlán. It's not an easy place to play. You know, having said that, Canada went down there pretty comfortably in the last window and got a result after we saw El Salvador play a pretty decent game away from home against Honduras. And so Costa Rica lack the depth that they need. Right. They lack, but what they lack in depth right now, they're going to make up for in the fact that they're like, we might be actually onto something here. We are on the edge of this 4th place and even a 3rd place. If they're going to take it to the last game, if you're looking at that saying, if this goes perfect, we're getting the U.S. At home where they never win. Like, that's a pretty good motivator for Costa Rica. Having said that, like, Costa Rica haven't been that impressive, but look where they are. If they haven't been that impressive, then clearly we haven't either, because they're knocking on the door. But I do believe that El Salvador have the ability to be difficult to play against at home, to play the spoilers in the way that they're going to want to for pride of Central America, and force at least a draw out of Costa Rica in this one. It's going to be a very difficult game for Costa Rica. Costa Rica are going to have to take more chances as well. Not that El Salvador have a ton of threats on the counter against them, but I think the more that El Salvador can keep them honest, the harder and longer it's going to be, where they might get a few opportunities of just Costa Rica, who don't have the youth, being exposed a little bit and them capitalizing on that.
No, those are good points, and I appreciate that insight. What I'll add is Hugo Perez, the manager of El Salvador, represented our country like 75, 80 times. So we need a former U.S. men's national team player to step up and help us and get Costa Rica off of our heels. Come on, Hugo Perez, help us out there. My concerns are the same as yours. Costa Rica, though, have only given up 7 goals in those 12 games. So very stout defensively. Don't give a lot of opportunities. And obviously, as we preview our game against the Ticos, that'll be something that we talk about quite heavily, especially based on how they perform and how we perform in this upcoming one. But defensively, they've been very good, and obviously have one of the best goalkeepers in the world in Keylor Navas, who should be starting for PSG, but he gets to watch Donnarumma do it as well. But what I want to say with regard to what I find interesting with regard to El Salvador is that there's been 6 World Cup qualifying windows, right, for us to get through this qualifying phase. The only game that El Salvador lost of those 6 windows was against us 1-0. They either got a win or a draw in everything. So they're very good in that first game, El Salvador. That's the second game, the third game. They lack depth and they get a little bit tired. Now, this is their last game in front of their home fans. I think they're going to be up for it. They're going to have their own type of motivation that Costa Rica doesn't have, but I think it's going to be difficult, and I think they're going to be rowdy and raucous, and we'll see how that ends up playing out, because we've seen them get in trouble before for some of that behavior.
But by the way, that when they played against Costa Rica the first time around, they scored first. El Salvador did, and then it almost lit a fire under Costa Rica, where it was like a punch to the face that I was like, oh man, this is not going to happen. And then Costa Rica came back and obviously won on a penalty, but it was like Costa Rica woke up from that one, where I thought this was the end of Costa Rica and the way that they had sort of started that game. But yeah.
So really quick, just because nothing is straightforward in qualifying, and El Salvador might play their best match of the whole qualifying phase, Costa Rica is going to find a way to get a win here. They're going to be on 22 points. And that's just what's going to play out. And I don't know what we're going to do against Panama. I hope that we win. That puts us at 25 and Costa Rica on 22. But it's just not going to be that easy. We're not going to slip through. And here's the table. I just feel like Costa Rica is not going to drop these points. I think they're going to go get all 3, and it's just going to make it really sticky on the last match day, which of course will give us that good old fashioned squeaky bum time as we head down to San Jose, Costa Rica, and try to get a result. But
so what could be the potential implications then against Costa Rica, right? If you were to say finish on level points with Costa Rica.
If we get a win or a draw against Panama, we guarantee at least 4th. So we're automatically into the Intercontinental playoff. And if we get 4th, we're most likely going to play, with all due respect to Papua New Guinea, we're probably going to play New Zealand, okay, at over 90 minutes. But as we just saw yesterday with Italy against North Macedonia, anything can happen in those 90 minutes. And the Intercontinental playoff will be in Qatar. So it's not like we have a home field advantage or whatever. It's somewhere far away, and it's at a neutral site, and it's going to be talk about tense. That one will be tense. And New Zealand would have everything to gain, and we would have everything to lose. So that's not necessarily a situation we want to get into. But if we get a result, any kind of result against Panama, we're guaranteed at least 4th. So we have that going for us. But if we win to beat Panama and Costa Rica wins, then it's going to get a little tight. And so obviously Mexico's got to go out there and go to Honduras and get a result, which isn't easy, especially with this Honduran team that seems like they're up for the fight. And so I don't know. It just could get really tight as to who's going to get these last spots. Costa Rica would have a lot of work to do, and because we have goal difference on them, they would have to score quite a few goals. But obviously we can only control what we can control, and that's beating Panama, and that's our first thing. But I just feel like it just doesn't go straight forward. It never does, and it's always hard. And if Costa Rica drops points here, it won't be as hard. I'm like, it's like we're not gonna ease our way into World Cup qualifying.
I think the U.S. qualifies in this game. I think the Panama game.
I hope
the win against Panama. I think that's what happens. I think we're giving a little bit too much logic to CONCACAF right now that it's going to come down to like the last game. I think we'll secure it in this one.
We'll see. All right, I hope that.
If we win,
from your lips to the soccer god's ears, I really hope that. Greg Neal wants that as well. Thanks for the support, Greg. So let's talk about it. Let's transition. We just brought him up right now. Honduras versus Mexico. Mexico, despite what you think about them, they're still grinding out the results as well. They've only given up 8 goals in their 12 games. So defensively, Memo Ochoa making the saves that need to be made. Not really flowing, not looking like the Mexico of old, not really controlling games with possession. But I was actually really impressed with one of their away games against Jamaica and Kingston, where they went down a goal and they figured out a way to get 2 late goals to win. I really thought that was a turning point for this Mexican team, that they can go and kind of win not in a not aesthetically pleasing way.
But that's what they usually do. They wear you down eventually in the score, right? They'll eventually, and that's how I remember my worst memory against Mexico of just, even though you're in games traditionally against Mexico, they wear you down. And even if you get a goal, they still wear you. Like, they used to be much more patient and spread the field in a different way where
I agree.
You would just chase the game, and eventually, had elements of Spain and things like that, where they stretch the field on you. It gets big. You're just chasing these shadows all the time. And then eventually one mistake or one opportunity, they're building their confidence, and you could just sort of feel that sort of, the edge go to their favor, where I'm not really feeling that outside of, again, that Jamaica one, like you mentioned. I thought, okay, wow, they've found a little bit of that gusto to them after not playing well, but finding a way to get a result in a different way. Maybe this is the new them, but it just hasn't continued to be the case.
Well, I guess what they got going for them is that when they played Honduras at Azteca, they won 3-0. When they played Honduras in the Gold Cup, they won 3-0. They might just have Honduras's number. And even though I think Honduras could put up a fight here, I just think Mexico, Tata Martino will not be going. He had eye surgery, had something complications, so he won't be there. I don't know if that takes pressure off or I don't think it adds pressure, but maybe it allows the team to relax if there's some type of intensity that he brings that won't be there this time around, or his mere presence. Sometimes that can happen with players when the assistant coach, the jokey assistant coach, comes in and everybody loves the assistant coach and he's kind of leading the charge. And sometimes it's funny. I don't know. I've had assistant coaches or interim coaches before. And if you really like that person, you want to see them succeed, it's like you give a little bit more. I don't know. You find something else to, like, I'm going to give everything I have so this guy has a great experience being in charge for this short period of time. I don't know if that's going to happen in this particular instance, but I thought I'd throw it out there.
This is also one where it's Honduras' last qualifier for another 4 years.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it's their last home qualifier. Yeah, not their last qualifier. Last home qualifier for another 4 years. And I'm hoping that brings the best out of San Pedro Sula and the atmosphere there and all the things that we've built into the romanticism of playing there and the difficulties of playing there. They have not had that in this World Cup qualifying campaign. But there's no better team to have. I'm sort of like, I'm willing this into existence, obviously, because I know what it's like down in Honduras, as you do, as you do too. And it just hasn't been that. And I feel that there might be some value to Honduras being at home, their last one, national pride again, the fans showing up if they do. I'm not sure what the capacity is or the COVID situation there right now, or even just the sentiment around the national team, considering how bad they've been in this World Cup qualifying. But I'm hoping that at least brings some of those factors that makes it a lot harder on Mexico than perhaps it's been on other teams.